episode of I cut my finger earlier. I didn't have a Band-Aid, so I just put some tape around it. That's what you do. You got to improvise, right? So on today's episode, all we're going to talk about is my finger. No, what we're going to talk about is some recent pickups. Most of these came from eBay, purchased stuff on eBay. eBay, Discogs seem to be, when it comes to online stuff, those seem to be like my go-to places. You know, occasionally deep discount or like Amazon, you might find something like on sale or you're having some kind of deal and pick stuff up there. Deep discount, I used to buy a lot of stuff from back in the day when it was like free shipping across the board. Now I think it's like free shipping after $25, but they do have some kind of deals here and there that are kind of worth checking out. So anyways, who cares about all that? We're going to talk about these new pickups, most of which, like I said, came from eBay. So let's get started. 1983, we get Cyndi Lauper, and She's So Unusual. That's like a reference to that movie, Just One of the Guys, if you've ever seen that from the 80s. Unlike all the other ones, this didn't come from eBay. This came from a Goodwill here in New Jersey. Got it for $1. This is her debut, as everybody knows. You know, I wasn't like a huge fan of hers, but, you know, it was $1 at Goodwill. I thought, why not pick it up? You know, you couldn't escape her in those like mid-80s. Songs were on the Top 40 radio, which I listened to quite a bit, and obviously her music videos were all over the place on all the shows that I was watching. And then I didn't have MTV at that time, but I'm sure they were all over constantly on MTV. You know, it's a good pop record, kind of new wave, kind of bent to it. She has a great voice. You know, I guess back then we all thought like Cyndi Lauper and Madonna were going to be like button heads, you know, throughout the years. But, you know, her career kind of faded after like her next record. And, you know, I mean, she's continued to do stuff and, you know, release records and stuff, but just the, you know, chart success kind of eluded her later on. But so much of this album everybody's familiar with. Money Changes Everything, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, of course, Time After Time, She Bop. All Through the Night is my favorite song on this record. I liked it back then. I still like it now. The other songs I'm not familiar with. I got to listen to. So I haven't listened to this one yet. But, you know, I mean, I don't know, 10 tracks on here, 6 of them I already know, and were singles. You know, that was the mid-80s. They were releasing so many singles. For $1, not a bad pickup. From 1976, we have AC/DC and Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. The interesting thing about this record is it was released in 76 in other parts of the world, but in the United States, they didn't release this until 1981. I don't really know why. I don't really know the history as to why they did that, but because I mean, it seemed like AC/DC were pretty popular back then in the 70s. Well, maybe not. Maybe they didn't get really, really popular in the States until 79 or 80. But it always surprised me. I do remember in like 81 or 82, one of my friends having this record. So, you know, it just seemed to me that that's when it came out. And I guess it caused a little bit of confusion and trouble. I don't know if the band were too thrilled because when this comes out, you know, they've already kind of established, you know, themselves with Brian Johnson after Bon Scott died and had a lot of success. And then they were getting ready to record or put out their next record with Brian Johnson, and then the label puts out this record with Bon Scott, which could have easily, I think the band thinks that it kind of hurt the sales of their next record with Brian Johnson by this coming out. But, you know, this is a little bit of a nostalgic purchase, something that I kind of always had in the back of my mind of picking up one day. And I found it on eBay fairly cheap, so I grabbed it. And I'm not super familiar with the rest of the album, you know, aside from the title track, of course, which is a great song. The one track I remember when my friend had this album that we used to crack up about was obviously Big Balls, which is a great song, but it's just, you know, to adolescent mind, it's just hysterical. But I'm not familiar with a lot of the rest of this stuff. I think I listened to it one time and thought it was pretty good, but I need to kind of spend a little bit more time listening to this one, just kind of settle in and pay more attention instead of just having it on in the background. But, you know, good record. From 1995, we have the Angry Samoans and their compilation, the Unbox Set. This is actually, I guess, their first 4 records compiled onto this one CD. 43 tracks, ladies and gentlemen. One CD, 43 tracks. They're a punk band, Southern California punk scene, which maybe you may or may not know was like my favorite punk scene if I had to pick one. I liked a lot of the bands that came out of there. I never had any Angry Samoans. I'm familiar with them, knew of them, but just never picked anything up by them. And then I think I must have heard a song somewhere by them and was like, kind of like, okay, I gotta finally dig something up. And this seemed like a great place to kind of, so to say, start. Like I said, it's their first 4 records. You can see here some kind of cool liner notes in there, but you know, good band. I really like it. Like I said, I just really liked a lot of those punk bands that came out of Southern California. Ton of tracks on here to go through, and I've listened to this and or most of it. I don't know if I've listened to the whole thing, but listened to most of it, and you know, it's right in line with the stuff that I kind of dig. I thought there was something I was looking here for to kind of point out, like one little kind of nugget of trivia or something, but it's slipping my mind right now. But anyways, check them out, Angry Samoans. From 1984, we get the soundtrack to Alex Cox's film Repo Man. This film is kind of the definition of cult film. It wasn't super successful, but a lot of people, you know, started watching it in the 80s on video or on cable or whatever, and it just kind of developed this huge following. I've seen it a couple of times. It's a kind of an odd film. It's a little different, you know. It took me maybe at least 2 times watching it before it kind of started clicking with me. And I kind of, like, the first time I watched it, I was just like, it's not doing anything for me. And then it kind of clicked, and I liked it. Soundtrack's incredible. You know, you got Iggy Pop doing like a theme song. You got Black Flag, Suicidal Tendencies, The Plugs, Circle Jerks, Fear. I love the band The Untouchables, ska band from Southern California. They show up in the film as kind of like this scooter gang in like 1 or 2 scenes. But yeah, really cool compilation of some Southern California awesome punk songs. Repo Man. 1999, we get the Gears, Rockin' at Ground Zero. Another Southern California punk band. A lot of that popping up today. The Gears, similar to Angry Samoans. The Gears, I had heard about them. I don't know if I'd heard any of their music, but I'd heard of them, had read books and seen them mentioned, or seen interviews with other people from that time, like John Doe or somebody maybe mentioning them, and but just never picked up any music by them. And there's a documentary which I haven't seen yet. I wanted to watch it, and it was on, I think, Amazon or something, and then now it disappeared from there. But it's called Don't Be Afraid to Pogo, a documentary about the Gears, which I definitely want to check out pretty soon. But you know, again, it's just my thing, that Southern California punk scene. I like those bands a lot, so adding some more to the collection is always a good thing, in my opinion. Great tunes on here, 18 tracks, you know, just some awesome stuff on here. And if you're not familiar with them, highly recommend you checking them out. 2018, we get a complete recordings of Robin Lane and the Chartbusters. First discovered Robin Lane on a one of those DIY compilations that covered different punk scenes. You know, there's one for Los Angeles, one for New York, one for England, and one for Boston, which was called Mass Ave. And Robin Lane and Chartbusters' song When Things Go Wrong was on that, and I really liked it. And then I picked up their first record on vinyl first, and I think self-titled, and I really liked that. And then couple of years ago, I found it on CD, and then I dug up their second record on vinyl called Imitation Life, and I really like that one as well. And that wasn't on CD. But just pretty recently, I just, for some reason, just looked up to see if anybody had ever released Imitation Life on CD, and I found this. It's a 3D set. It's got everything they recorded. Her first record, Imitation Life's on here. This live EP they put out, and some demos and some unreleased stuff is on here. And I think a couple more live performances. But it's basically like their whole recording output on 3 CDs, and this was on eBay. You might even still be able to find it there now. The person I bought it from, $5, brand new. $5, 3 CD set with everything on there. You can see the album covers there. But album CDs, I mean, are just kind of, this is the design there. It's 3 CDs, so it wouldn't be in a jewel box, but I'm never that crazy about when they put these CDs in like this, because I always feel like they're going to get scratched, or it'd be easier to scratch them. There's a booklet in here, which, see if I can get it out. But they're kind of a little punk, but like kind of probably remind you a little more of like new wave, that kind of style. And she's a real good singer, really catchy songs. There's a bunch of liner notes in here. I don't know if I read these yet. I don't think I have, because there's a lot. I guess somebody's making a film about her called When Things Go Wrong, her story, documentary. There's a lot of liner notes in here. I'll have to read those. I know I didn't read those yet. But yeah, really good stuff on here. Like I said, When Things Go Wrong is an awesome tune. Imitation Life, the title track's really good. There's just a ton of awesome tunes on here, and I mean, $5 for 3 CDs. I mean, how can you beat that? Just a insane deal. So I mean, if you like, that new wave 80s kind of, I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't call it post-punk. I think that sounds like it's like a little more like industrial or something, but this is like just some good 80s kind of new wave stuff. It's always surprising to me that they weren't more successful, because it sounds like they should have been, and they had a major label behind them, Warner Brothers, putting out their records, but it just never really clicked. 2001, we did the compilation by Peter and the Test Tube Babies, the best of Peter and the Test Tube Babies. UK punk band. I think they started in the late 70s. I think I heard one of their tunes in a movie and looked them up and really liked it, so I found this best of collection and decided to grab it. Wasn't super cheap. I think I paid like maybe $10 or $12 for this, but it was brand new, and they have a couple other albums. I just decided to go with the best of, just to get introduced. There's some liner notes here, and some information about the different members in the band. I think they're still around, actually, still playing shows. But it's good stuff. It's kind of the tunes on here are kind of got like a tongue-in-cheek kind of humorous angle to them. That kind of punk stuff, So there's some comical stuff on here. Banned from the Pubs, Pissed Punks, Creepin' Flesh. This is an enhanced video CD, so I'm guessing there's maybe like a live music video or something on here. I haven't really checked yet. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't familiar with these guys at all. I'd never heard of them when I looked up that one song and saw it was these guys. I'd never heard of them, but glad I found them. Really cool stuff. And finally, from 1996, some of you might recognize that logo. This is Men Without Hats. This is a collection, like a greatest hits thing. I did a lot of greatest hits or best ofs today, or compilations, huh? Yeah, pretty much all of these almost. So we all know them, the Safety Dance. Couldn't escape it in '83. Everywhere, video, radio, everywhere you turned, there was the Safety Dance. And I liked it back then. It was good. I never really got sick of it. I liked it. Still think it's a really good song, a new wave tune. And then they kind of disappeared for a while. Seemed like they were going to go the way of the one-hit wonder. And then a couple years later, they come back and have a kind of moderate top 40 hit with Pop Goes the World, which wasn't bad. And then that was kind of it here in the States, but they continued on making music and everything. And, this ties into, if I've done like over 100 of these episodes since I started in 2020, and I've mentioned numerous times how I kind of was rediscovering new wave bands, maybe 10 years ago, started rediscovering these new wave bands that I kind of hadn't paid a whole lot of attention to in the 80s. A lot of them had songs that I liked, but I never went out and like bought the records or anything like that. And then it really started, I think, with I bought a Best of Bow Wow Wow CD for like 90 cents. And I only knew I Want Candy, and I just was like, why not, 90 cents? And I bought this Best of Bow Wow Wow record, and I listened to it, and I loved it. And I think that kind of like opened up the doors for me of like, bands like this where I knew one or two songs, like let me check out like a best of, or let me see, what else they've got, in their catalog. And, and just started picking up a lot of like 80s new wave stuff, and liked quite a bit of it. These guys, some liner notes and stuff in here, kind of like this collection. There's a couple of them I feel like that do sound a little dated, a little too heavy on the synth pop, but for the most part, I really like this. Obviously, like I said, the Safety Dance, Pop Goes the World's on here. Living in China, Antarctica, I Got the Message, I like. A lot of these tunes I thought were really pretty good. So kind of surprised me. I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't be a disaster and I'd hear it and be like, well, bought that for one song. But no, it's pretty good actually. If you're not familiar with any more of their catalog, a best of collection, greatest hits, probably not a bad place to start. I think you can get this fairly cheap, so not bad. We can dance if we want to. How about that? But that's it for this round of pickups. Some stuff I picked up on eBay and one thing from Goodwill. Appreciate you watching. By all means, let me know if you're familiar with any of these records, any tunes I should check out specifically, ones that you like. I always like to hear from people and hearing their suggestions and what have you. Other than that, see you another time. Take it easy, everybody.